You are now listening to the voice of horror.
Lock your doors, bolt your windows, and turn off the lights. Make sure the kids are safe at home, because you're heading to the Nightwatch zone.
You think it's over now? You're wrong.
All aboard the night train.
It's over, Prime.
This is the siege. I'm a man of my word.
Hey. Yeah. Dead or alive, consider this home. No killing the vibe in the Nightwatch zone. Xenomorphs hype when the lights come on. Hit like and subscribe and the show might blow. Go viral, no COVID, it's a spiral. Emotions, hand on the Bible. Only go sign on the dopest your vitals. Better tune in, yeah, you know it's vital. From Schwarzenegger to Kane Hodder, Corey G down to Harry Potter. Shit, Sigourney Weaver, love the Nightwatch zone. Come with me to the Nightwatch zone.
Well, there are two things a man should never run from, even if they cost him his life.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's the night. We have with us someone who his journey, his channel, and he himself has been a big inspiration to me, and I know for so many other folks. I have Lee from DRUMDUMS here with us. Lee, brother, it's still amazing to be able to talk to you tonight, and I'm just happy to have you here, man. Seriously.
Thank you. I am honored to be here. You are one of the channels to watch these days, and you put out great content. And I was really, really happy and surprised when you asked me to be on the show. I am humbled. Thank you very much.
Oh man, no, it's truly my pleasure, man. For you guys that are here, you guys know how we do this thing. We're going to give you guys a blanket hello, but thank you so much for everyone that is here. We have a fantastic community that's very supportive, and definitely get a chance to talk with Lee. Just real quick, just to say hi to a few of you guys. My man Ronan's in the chat saying, "Can't wait for this." What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Val's views, the moderator, the general herself. What's going on, Val? Good to see you. Reminding people, definitely hit the like button, subscribe, and also to Lee if you haven't, which I'm sure most of you guys, if not everyone, has, but we've got his link as well. And look who's here. Miss Carter, what's up?
Everybody loves Polly.
Now, see, you have the ability to call her that. I can't call her that. I call her Miss
Oh, yeah,
Carter.
she lets me call her Polly. I got the permission.
You do. You got the inside track.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Miss C. What's up, Jason? Good to see you too, man. Dice is in the chat. What's up, Dice? Good to see you. Nathan saying the time has come. That's right, man. That's right. We're here. Barb's in the house saying hi, chat. Woo, it's been a day. When I tell you how much I needed this stream tonight, let me tell you what, good to be in your company talking horror stuffs. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Seriously. We're glad to be here, and we love talking
Barb's
horror.
onto something there. It's really nice when you can just hang with the community. If you if you're kind of down, just hanging with the horror community, there's nothing that it'll really lift your spirits up. It's cool. They're good people. They're really good people. I see a few in the chat that I've seen on my channel a couple of times in my streams, which is really, really nice. So yeah, it looks like you have a lovely chat, though. Very lovely chat.
Yeah, man. They really they not only give you the fuel, but they make it so much fun, man. And like I was saying to you, it just really, it makes a big difference. It truly, truly does. Oh, hey, Karen's in the chat. Ocean Chick Films herself saying, "Hey, Lee."
Yep, I know Karen. I was on Karen's channel, actually.
That's right.
I think last year, right, Karen? Yeah. Really good time.
That was a good discussion. That was a really good discussion. Good she is, man. She really is. Katie, what's going on? Our good friend Katie from Poppin' the Popcorn, one of my good friends. Good to see you here too. And Ronan coming in with a super chat saying, starting tonight off right. You're all right, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. And let's see. Oh, man. Ben's in the chat. Good to see you, Ben. I think that the other night he had become a channel member. All right. Ben,
Nice.
thank you. Thank you so much, man. You're all right. Oh, my gosh. All right. Let's see who else we got here. Oh man, Ronan's gifting memberships. Gosh, he's all right, man. Brother, I'm telling you, man, you are just so supportive. I really appreciate you so much. Seriously. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just another horror fan saying hello, Night, Lee, and others. What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. I want to make sure I catch up to some of you guys here. Sandy in the chat. Hey, Sandy. Good to see you. Fluff, what's up? Santa. I've never heard. I've never heard of this DRUMDUMS guy, but he seems nice. Yeah, he's pretty nice.
I might have ran into him at Spooky Empire a couple times.
That's awesome, man. Let's see. And May-Ann, you have a channel member anniversary, 2 months. Thank you so much. Saying, hey, friends, Night, you are all right. Much love to you in this community. Well, much love to you as well. Seriously, we appreciate you, man. Yeah, Miss C. Okay, one legend.
That's you.
Okay. No. No. Hey, Sarah. Good to see you too. Our good friend Sarah. All right. Oh, and there is my brother. What's going on? My good friend Steven from Craving Something Scary saying, hey guys, great to see you here. Lee with my great friend Night. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Definitely.
Oh man, Steven, you're all right, man. Seriously. Love you, man. All right. So we'll get started on this, and I'm sure you guys will definitely have a lot more comments and even questions for Lee. Definitely put those questions in. Denisha, hey to you. What's going on to you? Oh, Miss C said, I think Ronan gave me a membership. Thank you. Oh, that's cool. All right. That's awesome.
I didn't even know you could gift memberships. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they started doing that not too long ago. It's actually it's pretty cool. And may I just say, and Ronan has done this quite a few times as far as gifting memberships to people. And I know some of them were folks that, would have liked to be a member, but just, it just wasn't the right time for them. And he's just been it's such a gracious thing to do. It's such a kind
Yeah, definitely
to do, man. Wow. It's amazing. So yeah, they can do it. They can do it. But Lee, let's start with some of what we wanted to get into, and we'll get back to the chat too. But I had obviously my own questions. We talked a little bit about some of your journey backstage and when we did our little conversation. But what are some of your earliest memories, if you'd like to share them, with horror as a genre? Maybe, your first movies or experiences with horror and how you came to be someone that's so passionate about these movies in this genre.
I think I can tell you the first memory I have of horror was when I was really young. My mother was babysitting, I was being babysat, and my mother picked me up. And when you're a child, you don't remember too much, but there are little flashes, little images that stay in your head.
Yeah.
And there was this image in my that I saw on the TV. It was like a TV spot or something like that when I was leaving, and it was these like yellow eyes. And it could have been for The Exorcist. It could have been for some other crazy movie, kind of like what you saw with Michael Jackson in Thriller. I remember that image. Like my mom said, I started crying profusely, and like it freaked me out to death. And I think when that happens, and it happens to a lot of us, I think you can go two different directions. You can stay away from it, and you never want to see that again. And there are people like that. They can't watch horror, and it might be because of something like that. Or you can go the opposite direction and just dive, head first into it and become kind of obsessed about what caused that scare, and you're constantly chasing it. And I think that's the adolescent version of it. And then later in life, you start appreciating it more for the actual good stories, the direction, all that stuff. But, and I think one of the first real scares for me was, I was spending the night with a cousin of mine, and I was like 10 years old, and we were watching Friday the 13th Part 3.
Ooh.
And it was, I literally had my hands over my eyes the whole time. But when he squeezes that guy's head and the eyeball just like pops out, that I was done. I was like, I can't. I almost had a heart attack at 10 years old. But yeah, so those are like my earliest memories of it. And I've never really let go of horror. But I know some people, they only like horror. But I've always loved, so many different genres of film. And when I was a kid, I think I could even say like the King Kong from 1976 had a little bit of horror inspiration for me in that it scared me.
Yeah, me too.
When you see one and she's up and the first time we see King Kong and he looks like a freaking, larger than life monster, and he's like roaring at her and she's, screaming and crying profusely, that freaked me out as a kid. So stuff like that. And then I was always into like, like Rocky was a big influence for me growing up. Superman 2 was the first movie I ever saw in the theater. So, and I noticed that in your intro, you don't just have horror in there. You got, it's you. It's so many different things that make you as a person, and you just happen to love horror, So yeah, I think first and foremost, I'm a movie fan, but I tend to favor horror. I always tell people I'm 85% horror.
Ooh, I like that, man.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I'm 85% horror because I still love a lot of different genres,
Yeah, I might have to use that or some type of variation, because it's true, man. I mean, I grew up, my story is so similar to you, man. My parents, thank goodness, they just got me and my brother into movies. I remember the first time I saw First Blood, and just it just amazed me. And from that day forward, I've been a huge Stallone fan, like forever.
Same.
And horror became a focus, partly because I had to overcome the fear of it, and Friday the 13th was the movie that got me through it, getting through that stinger at the end with Alice in the boat. And it was like, I'm still alive. I made it. And from that point on, I just had this hunger for it, but I never lost track of Rocky's my favorite movie character of all time. And I always say that on this channel, and I love Rocky. And it's funny you mentioned Rocky, because I wanted to get to a Rocky question too, but I love so many different things. And I think that it's good to have an open mind and have that type of balance, because there's so many great movies out there from the other genres, so I'm definitely on board with you like that. Real quick too, and Jamie also has a channel anniversary as well. Jamie, I wanted to just thank you for that and your support. You're absolutely awesome, and looks like some of the folks in the chat too were congratulating you. 5 months, man. Thank you so much. It's truly a blessing. You guys, like I said, you guys make this community what it is. Miss C saying, I need one for your channel, Mr. Lee. Laugh out loud. I'm kidding. She's all right, man.
Holly, I just need you to teach me how to do that, and then I'll give it to you.
Oh, that's so funny. Ronan saying 3 new members and we're not even 20 minutes into the stream. Well, man, thank you so much for helping out. Seriously, man, I'm telling you, it's really, really something. So with that being said, knowing that we're fans of other genres and stuff like that, what do you before we get to the other genres, I should say, what do you think about horror today? Like, kind of just where it stands, movies that you've seen, things that you liked and not liked. Do you think that horror right now is in a good spot?
Yeah, I do. I don't think this year's been the best year for horror, like say in the past decade, but we've had some really good years for horror. I'd say probably in the last 5 years. I think I'd even say horror might have saved Hollywood somewhat throughout the pandemic a little bit.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now there's different types of people when it comes to horror, because I know some people, they just like a certain era, specifically 80s for sure. There's some people that they're I don't want to use the term stuck in the 80s because that sounds bad, and it's not a bad thing at all. I mean, it was funny.
Right.
I was just telling my wife last night. Can you believe it? We were teenagers in the 80s. I almost feel bad. I almost feel guilty for being able to be a teenager in the 80s. It was like the biggest gift ever.
Yeah.
So I get that, and I still maintain that I think 80s horror might be my favorite decade. It probably is. I mean, I love it to death, but I'm always looking for something new, looking for new stories, new scares. And I get excited when something new comes along that's like completely, like say what Blair Witch did in 99, or
Right.
even movies that I don't necessarily like Skinamarink. I didn't get it. It wasn't for me. I couldn't sit through it, but I saw that. Yeah, I was like, this is different. This is new. This might be the spark of something, like a whole new genre. And that stuff does really get me excited, you know. And I'm always happy for movies that maybe I don't necessarily like, or I hate that term, you don't get it. But I think there's just so many different subgenres of horror, and you're not going to like it all, but it's good that, because I mean, do we like, imagine if there was like if horror was like what comedy is right now. There's rarely any good comedy, like successful comedies.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that happened to horror, and we were just kind of like in the dark ages of horror? That would be really weird, but luckily we're not.
I agree.
Horror's doing just fine.
Yeah, I agree. And I think last year was a good example of, you know, that lane being pretty wide, because we had a lot of interesting things, whether it was X, Barbarian, Smile, Pearl,
Yeah.
you know, Scream, obviously Halloween. So it was, you know, it was a pretty wide range of movies, and not just the big franchises, you know. You know, I mean, we had Terrifier 2 as well, but like when I went to go see Smile, for instance, it wasn't really big on my radar. It was kind of like just a movie that was kind of, okay, it's playing tonight and we were going to go, let's go see it. And I was pretty surprised by it, that I enjoyed it, you know. And it was something that, you know, although it has some familiar beats, you know, to be quite honest, but it wasn't a known franchise. It wasn't a sequel, requel, reboot, or whatever you want to call it. So, and we had a lot of things like that, like X and Barbarian, which was bonkers crazy.
Fantastic. What was great about Barbarian was, I remember as I was watching the movie, I was just like, it's going to go this way, and it goes this way, and it just keeps doing that, over playing with your expectations. And it's like terrifying in one scene, and then it's hilarious in another scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is so freaking refreshing.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, look on my tombstone back there, I got X. X and Pearl. Wow, that just shot you know, a jolt of adrenaline in the horror genre. I mean, those are like, I'm already seeing people doing cosplays of X and Pearl. And you know, 30 years from now, are we going to be looking back at X and Pearl and being like, you know, like we do looking back at the 80s? I think so. So we're creating new icons still to this day. Art, Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
You know, if you were worried about Terrifier 1, if you were worried, is Art really going to be a bona fide like horror icon legend? By the time 2 came out, you're like, oh my God, he is definitely a freaking icon now. You know, even if you don't like if they're not for you, Art is a force now. You know, he's definitely a viable icon. He's an IP.
Yeah, no, he really is, and I appreciate Damien just kind of going there, so to speak, you know, and doing the practical work, and you could tell the inspiration that they've had, you know, goes back to, you know, stuff that we grew up on, or you know, like in the 80s and stuff like that. And it's really refreshing, man. When I saw Terrifier 2 in the theater, I mean, it's bonkers crazy, and like you said, it's not for everyone. But there was this guy in the back, like 2 or 3 rows behind us, and he was just groaning, oh, and I was laughing my ass
Don't you love
off.
that?
I love it. I'm like,
I love it
dude,
when somebody walks into the theater to the wrong movie, like they think they're
Yes.
going to a different type of movie, and their reaction is just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
It's like the greatest thing ever.
I'm thinking to myself, did you not know what you were getting yourself into? Did you
Yeah.
not see the first Terrifier? Because you know the scene I'm talking about is like that totally was like, whoa, that's crazy. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with 3. It'll be interesting.
When you make something like Terrifier 2, it's like it would almost be impossible for you to not be a massive horror fan. And I've talked to Damien Leone before, and he's definitely like all of us. He's I mean, he loves horror so much, and he just wanted to make a movie. He wanted to make a movie like he wanted to watch, you know? And that's, you know, that's what, and it takes balls to make a 2.5-hour slasher movie and make it great.
Right.
Not just good, but great.
Yeah.
And it might be the longest slasher movie in history, I think, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, you're right.
I wonder if he has any pressure for Terrifier 3.
Oh
I'm
man.
sure.
Jeez, I can only imagine, man. I mean, like, because now it's like you gotta hit another home run. But you know, he might be the type of person where that pressure isn't that great. You know, maybe he's just like, hey, I'm just gonna do what I did before, and it, you know, it should work. So I don't know. But I'm really curious to see where it goes, because I think Art as a character is so interesting. I mean, David Howard Thornton is just he's just great in that role. I mean,
Yeah,
just,
he is.
you know, the physicality and just what he puts into it. It's amazing, because when you don't talk, you know, you have to be able to emote. You have to be able to connect with the audience. And I think he's I mean, you know, he's had mime experience. So of course, I think he was a perfect choice for the role. He really was.
Yeah.
So
he might even be like, and I hate to say this, but I'm just being honest. He might end up being typecast because of how good he, like say Robert Englund. Yeah, Robert Englund's done some other work outside of Nightmare, but the first thing you think about without missing a beat when you say Robert Englund is Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what's might happen to David Howard Thornton, because he's just so good in that role.
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I'm rooting for him, and I'm hoping he's able to kind of get other roles and be successful.
Yeah,
he's a good actor though, so
he is. He really is. And he's a really nice guy, man. He's really cool.
That's a compliment to him, by the way. It's not a knock at all. He's just that good.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick too, in the chat, just to catch up with you guys, Barb saying, I've seen a few of DRUMDUMS videos in the past, as YouTube suggested, and this was the nudge I needed to sub it. Always happy to add another horror channel to the mix. Awesome, Barb.
Cha-ching!
That is so cool, man. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barb. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Jose saying, thank you guys for the 1-month membership. I appreciate it. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
What's up, Jose? I know Jose. Awesome.
He's like, what's up, dude? Very cool. Barb coming in again. Oh, wow, Barb. Jeez. Thank you. $10 super chat. That is so amazing. Thank you. Saying, Night, this channel's success will be in part due to the fact that you engage with your community, both on streams and in the comments. That stands out, and I know we all noticed. Thank you. Well, Barb, thank you. I mean, I just enjoyed talking with you guys and hanging out. This is, you know, it's like family, it's friends. You know, me and Lee were talking about that backstage. It's really what drives us. It's a passion to connect with people and to talk about these movies and our thoughts and opinions. So thank you. Seriously. Wow. That was just so kind. Thank you so much. Seriously. Let's see. I think I'm almost caught up to most of you guys here. That was just amazing. Tim coming in with a super chat saying, oh, this is a good one. And thank you for the super chat, by the way, Tim, saying, who is your Mount Rushmore of horror? Mine is Michael, Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface. You can add additional characters as well. Doesn't have to be 4. That's a great question. Ooh.
Well, if we're including sci-fi, I would say Michael, Freddy, Jason, and the Xenomorph. Because I am a Xenomorph fanatic. I love Alien so much. Nice. I'm one of those weird nuts that loves Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I love those 2 movies so much. And I think it's maybe they're just polarizing films, because there's people that just hate those movies. And I guess I just tend to like if a movie's polarizing, I think more times than not, I tend to be the one that likes it. You know, like Halloween
Mhm.
Ends.
Mhm.
Halloween Ends. I really enjoy that movie, and it like right now, my ears are buzzing with people that are so angry that I like that movie. And
Yeah,
usually, you don't
right?
care if somebody likes or dislikes a movie. You know, it's like okay,
Yeah.
it's fine. But for some reason, there's certain movies that if you say you love them, then people do get quite upset. They almost take it
Yeah.
personally, and I think that's just because of how popular Michael Myers is. You know,
Mhm.
but yeah, I would say Xenomorph would be my fourth one for sure.
Nice, nice. Very, very cool. And it's funny, Tim, that you asked this. This was something I was gonna throw at Lee as well. I would say for me, definitely the Trinity. I gotta have Michael, Freddie, and Jason because I grew up on them. There's no doubt that I've enjoyed all three of those franchises so much. For me, the fourth pick, it's tough, you know, because Leatherface definitely. I'm a fan of TCM, um, and I'm a big fan of the Xenomorph as well. That was a good left turn there. I love that because I'm a big Alien fan. But I'd probably say Ghostface. I mean, just
Oh yeah, that's Ghostface. Yeah, that's a Ghostface is massive, especially with Scream.
yeah.
Funny enough, I just got my Scream 6 steelbook, and today I think I ordered it like 7 years ago, but it finally came in today. Gee, I was like so surprised. It was just like sitting out there. I saw my door, and I opened
Yeah.
it up, and I'm like, oh my god, I almost forgot I ordered this. You know,
Wow. That's
but
awesome,
yeah,
man. Yeah, I mean, especially that first one, Wes Craven, man. Rest in peace. He was just so talented, just as a filmmaker, and one of those filmmakers that, to me, anyways. I mean, he changed horror three different times, three different decades, three different
yeah.
movies, three different types of horror. When you talk about Last House on the Left, you talk about Nightmare, and then you talk about Scream, and it's like this guy. I mean, he's an OG. He's the
Oh yeah.
man. So yeah,
He
great
wasn't afraid
question.
to do like a because he has the Scream franchise, and
Hmm.
he had last what am I? Why am I drawing a blank?
Hills Have
Well, of
Eyes.
course, Nightmare on Elm Street, but Hills Have Eyes.
Hmm.
So there's like three franchises that he had. Whereas like
Hmm.
take like Carpenter. Carpenter had Halloween, even though he didn't really have much involvement after the first
Right.
couple.
Yep.
But did Carpenter ever do another franchise? I
The,
can't really think of one.
the only sequel I can remember him doing was Escape from LA.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did do those two. And then you could say that The Thing, but I don't think he had anything to do with the prequel.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's too bad. Well, let me back up. I mean, I think that the prequel, first of all, I'm a huge The Thing fan. Like, I
oh
think
yeah.
it's absolutely amazing. And it may be, well, I won't get down that road. That'll get rough. But I love it. And when the prequel came out, I was so pumped for it. And I
Hmm.
do like quite a bit of it. I think there's a lot of great stuff in it, and they definitely tried to pay respect to the Carpenter movie. They wanted to do practical work, but the studio kind of jumped in and said, we're gonna, cover some of this stuff up with CGI, and a lot of the stuff just didn't look. It just didn't look good with the
Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah. The CGI, it definitely sticks out like a sore thumb.
It
Funny enough, I
does.
just watched The Thing again, because I got the 4K. I just
Ooh,
watched it again the other night. I've seen it a million times. It's easily in my top 5 favorite horror films.
yeah.
But looking at Rob Bottin's work, especially
Mm.
like the dog scene,
Mhm.
and and I'm just like in awe of, I'm like, this movie's over 40 years old now.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of those YouTube clips behind the scenes of the prequel, the actual practical effects.
Mhm.
And I know that they're probably not the finished product in the movie, but when you compare what they looked like to Rob Bottin's work, you
Mhm.
could make shitty practical effects. I think people
Right.
just assume that if it's practical, then it's gonna be great no matter what. But you still have to make that stuff. Whereas
Yes.
Rob Bottin, I mean, this is a guy that worked 20. I think he worked like 21 hours straight
Mhm.
some nights.
Mhm.
He would probably sleep, on his breaks or whatever. But he went in. He literally went into exhaustion
Yeah.
doing The Thing. But
Yep.
the results are there. I mean, it
Yeah.
is still to this day some of the best freaking practical effects I've ever seen in my life. Would we get that
Mm.
again if we even got practical effects? Who knows? Maybe,
Right.
maybe not.
Yeah. Well, and the thing of it too is that when they were doing the storyboards for the thing, Carpenter was wondering, well, can we even do can we do these things? And he asked Rob, he said, can you make this? Because they showed the different variations
Mhm.
of the thing, monster form and transforming and stuff like that. And Rob Bottin was like, for some of those things, he had never done it before. He says, well, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, man. I mean, just
That's
the
what a
blood.
director wants to hear. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
hear no. He
Right.
wants to hear, I've never done it, but hey, we'll figure it out.
Right. I mean, he was creating, in real time. And it's like, wow. I mean, just to have that type of ability, it's mind blowing. It's
Yeah.
absolutely mind blowing. But like you said, those effects are still great to this day. It really,
Mhm.
really is. Yep. BTT saying Drum Dums Lee in the house. Yes.
What's up, BTT?
Yes. Samuel, what's going on? Saying hello. What's going on? Good to see you. Jamie Jamie said, yes, I love
There
Halloween
we go.
ends. You my peeps, Lee.
I tell you, if I bring up Halloween ends, oh my God, it starts some ruckus for sure.
Hey, well, at some point we might be starting some ruckus here because I got to
Mhm.
ask you about it. But and also Val, thank you for putting Lee's link to his channel in the live chat. Thank you so
Val.
much.
That's really nice.
Yeah, Val is oh man, she's the moderator and just she's on top of so much. Without her, it's like, and of course we have other moderators here too, but Val's always just like putting in links, like she's beating me to the punch of me talking. It's like, that's awesome. It's totally awesome.
So cool.
It is, man. It is. Let's see. Chuck, what's up? Chuck saying, have you guys seen any fan films? I've seen Never Hike Alone and The Fall of Camp Blood, Friday the 13th. Yeah, man, there's some great fan films out there. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've reviewed quite a few of them.
Mhm.
Of course, Vincent DeSante. I mean, I think he kind of raised the bar for
Yes.
how far you can go with fan films. And then you got Dave McCrae's It's Me Billy, which when I watched that, I was like, God, it looks like a real Hollywood budgeted movie.
Yes.
So in this, freaking 5-10 years ago, fan films, they weren't to this level.
That's right.
So, and that's actually a good topic of discussion, because why did this happen? Was it YouTube that kind of created this whole thing? Was it YouTube that made content creators think, hey, I could do this. I could literally make, because I think YouTube and social media gives connections. You can connect with so many different, parts of the puzzle to make a film. And maybe that's why fan films are better these days. Like Jason Rising is another one where they literally were able to get Alice from the first movie to be in the movie. And it's a really good movie. So it's awesome. It's really awesome. I love it.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, they're just such high quality. I mean, it's it's not even funny, man. I mean, it's like really, really cool. A lot of work goes into it. It really does. But yeah, I mean, they're great. They're absolutely great. Joseph's in the house saying hello. What's up, Joseph? Good to see you.
So
Hope
Joseph,
you're doing well.
I've seen him on my channel a few times.
Nice.
Fractal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fractal. What's going on? Saying, anybody remember the stuff? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Garrett Morris. I remember seeing that at my grandmother's house when I was a kid, and it freaked me out, man.
I still have never seen this stuff, but I've heard about it for sure.
Ooh.
There's quite a few of these, what you call like gooey horror movies.
Yes.
Where there's some kind of sauce or something like that gets loose and it just gets all over everybody.
Right?
That sounds horrible. I mean, like, that sounds weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Miss C saying, just let me hop on Killer Flicks and mention not liking Halloween, and I piss off a bunch of people.
Oh yeah. Man, I tell you,
true.
When Halloween 2018 came out, Killer Flicks was around. Like, I think Killer Flicks got a lot of members because of Halloween. And I started the page in 2016. And by 2018, I'm guessing here, but I want to say we probably had maybe 7,000-8,000 members. And Halloween became so freaking controversial and
Yeah.
destructive, even in the group, and people were. Because I think on the page you would just see nothing but Halloween posts, and it's not technically a Halloween page, and Halloween was new, so you would just have these back and forth. So we ended up having to create rules and have like Michael Myers Mondays, and but I remember people got really, really upset over even talking about Halloween in the group, and that was something I never expected. It was strange. Really.
Yeah, man. It's the type of thing. Well, we might as well just kind of go into it a little bit, but it's the type of thing where it is kind of amazing to me how it gets that type of intensity, and I suppose it works both ways, right? Because it's a popular franchise and people are passionate, and it's a great fan base as far as Halloween fans. But man, I mean, I love Halloween, and I'll talk about it on a video, and usually it's a pretty positive reception. But you've got some people that they'll say, "Well, Halloween Ends is the worst film in the history of mankind," and this and that. And I'm like, okay, hold on, guys. Let's take a deep breath, because that's not true, And I get it; it's divisive, but my viewpoint on it, and I was wondering, and I know kind of what you think about it, but for these guys to kind of have it as part of our discussion, personally looking at it, I'm happy that the trilogy came out.
Yeah.
Because it gave us some more Halloween. It gave us an opportunity as fans to kind of, get together and talk Halloween. And I think it did good things for horror in general. I think when one movie or franchise is successful, it can definitely help other franchises. And that's a good thing, because I want horror in general to be successful. There were some missteps here and there with some of the movies, but overall, I was pretty happy with the trilogy. And I know some folks had issues with whether it was kills or obviously ends, but for you, what are your thoughts overall on the trilogy? As far as are you happy that we got it? Are you happy with David Gordon Green, and as far as his pedigree and what he brought to the table for it? Because, like I said, for me, I'm happy about it, man. It's like I got a chance to have Michael Myers conversations with folks. I'm a huge Friday 13th fan. That's my franchise, and we're damn near 14 years going not having a theatrical movie, and it's like, wow, it's rough. So at least for Halloween fans, all of us, we had 3 movies that were of what I think very good quality, and I think that's a good thing. But how about you? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think the shorter answer is yes. I'm happy with the trilogy. Are they perfect? No, I don't think they're perfect. But I guess how many perfect trilogies are out there? And I think there are maybe some perfect trilogies. But even like I could say Lord of the Rings is a perfect trilogy, and then there's other people that are like, I can't watch one Lord of the Rings movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's right.
That's just a lesson that you can't make everyone happy. And when I step back and look at that trilogy as a whole, I'm really happy that all 3 movies weren't the same type story. I love that David Gordon Green said, okay, I'm going to make this type of movie. And then the second movie is going to be kind of like, I guess, the middle chapter, kind of like what Empire Strikes Back did. Not saying Kills is Empire Strikes Back, but I'm just saying that's kind of the formula there.
Right.
And then the last movie, let's really kind of go hog wild, come up with a unique story, because we've had so many Halloween movies where it's just Myers hunting whoever, killing somebody every 15 minutes, and then a final showdown. We've done that so many times. So why not think outside the box a little bit, kind of like what we did? And everybody always says they wanted like a Halloween 3 again. Let's give them that, but maybe even use the Myers story around it a little bit. So I think it's all about expectations. And when you went into Halloween Ends, if you wanted a certain type of movie, then you were going to walk out of that movie upset. And for me, I think when I sit down to any movie, it's a blank slate in there. I don't want to put my expectations on. I just want a good movie, simple as that. Go hog wild, tell whatever story you want. Surprise me. I love surprises, but just give me a good movie. That's all I ask,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why I loved Halloween Ends so much, was just because it's like, wow, I did not expect that. And it happened to be good for me. So, but I guess to show you how much of a hot button topic Halloween in general is like after a new movie comes out, like say Halloween Ends, it's like every review that I've done or every video really that I've done, somebody that's not involving Halloween, somebody will pop in the comments and say, well, at least it was better than Halloween Ends, you know, and other movies don't have that effect really, you know, like Insidious. I just reviewed Insidious. I won't get any comments stating that, hey, at least it was better than Insidious 5.
Right.
You know, that'll never happen. But for Halloween, people get so upset that they like, I need Lee to know that I hate this movie. So I'm just gonna comment at every freaking review.
Right. That's funny, man.
It's strange, man.
It is, man. I mean, you know, like I said, I guess it just shows the passion, man, because there is, I mean, like I said, man, and I know you know much better than a lot of us, but some of the comments are just like crazy. I'll read them and I'll say, wow, you took the time to write that. It's like that's pretty interesting, to say the least. You know, so
well, sometimes you'll get comments that are like the length of a book, and I'm sure you've seen these, where it's like, and I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna read it. I just can't, because I mean, I'll peruse through the first paragraph, and if it's just like complete vitriol and hate, and I'm okay,
exactly.
I'm not even gonna read it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, man. Because I love like you know, when people have really thought-provoking comments, but when they are like, you know, you put out your thoughts of what you thought of, you know, like let's say Halloween Ends. So I had put my thoughts out there, and so they already know where I'm at, but they'll leave like 5-6 paragraphs trying to either change my mind or tell me why I'm wrong. And it's like, bro, you can have your own, you know, channel or review or vlog or whatever you want to do. It's like, it's all good, man. But to spend that much time to just tell me how much you hate it, you can just put a sentence and I'll get it. I don't need 5 paragraphs.
Yeah, I mean, I could say, hey, that's an interesting point of view, and you're onto something there, but I still like the movie.
Right.
And I've literally had people think that I'm trying to make them not like a movie if I'm doing a review, and that's never my intention. My intention when I review anything is just to tell you how I feel about it, and I'll tell you why I like or dislike the movie. But not once will you ever hear me say in my review, "You're wrong if you like this movie."
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I even go out of my way to say, hey, if you like this movie, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's the power of movies. You know, they affect our brains in different ways. And if you love something that I don't love, more power to you. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Agreed. I mean, we're all different. You know, we all have our different perspectives, our different journeys that have brought us here. Different, you know, sometimes nostalgia plays a role in what we like, sometimes connections to family or loved ones or whatever. So there's 1,000 different things that go into that equation about what we like and what we don't like. So it's really, it's unbelievable to think that everyone's going to like, you know, what everyone else likes. And that would be boring anyways. Yeah. That would be so boring anyways. Yeah. Jamie coming in saying the worst film in the history of mankind is Birdemic. Atrocious. Jamie, you're all right. I love
and Jamie,
that.
I guarantee you there's somebody out there that they rub mayonnaise all over themselves for Birdemic. They love the movie like you can't even imagine. I guarantee you there's one person out there that's like that.
Yep, you know it. You know it. Chuck, thanks, man. Nightwatch and DRUMDUMS rocks. You're all right, man. Ronan saying, I'm not bothered by Ends because we got 2018 and Kills is awesome. I know, man. I loved Kills, man. I was in that theater. Wayne saying slogans die tonight. I know, man. I know. Like, yes, I agree. If they could have like done away with maybe 12 of the evil dies tonight, that would have been fine.
Yeah, they could have toned that down.
You know, cut the hospital scene in half. But I get what they were trying to do. You know, I get what he was trying to do as far as showing the infection of evil and people becoming like Michael, becoming this thing that they hate, you know? So I get it. But yes, they could have maybe cut back on that a little bit. But I'm gonna tell you what, man, in the theater and the people in the theater too, we were amped up, man. We were like, yeah, go, man. When we saw that 78 recreation scene and my eyes did a double take and I'm like, is this lost footage? Wait a minute. What?
It looked damn good.
Yeah, man. I was just like, I
And that
loved it.
The Loomis guy that looked, I mean, wow. They found that guy, and
Yes,
it's like he's not even an actor, I don't think.
that's right.
But
That's
man,
right.
he looked like Loomis.
He did, man. And I was just, and Loomis is one of my favorites, man. And I was just like, it just warmed my heart. And so for me as a horror fan, like if I heard that from someone else, I'd be like, man, good for you, man. It made you feel good. It warmed your heart.
Mhm.
It made you remember something from your childhood. Like that's some of the greatest things about movies and loving movies to me. And that's what I got from Kills, man. I just loved it, man. When he was surrounded by the friggin' world without his mask and he
Yeah.
sees everybody just coming at him and he just looks down and pick up the mask, puts it on, kind of like saying, and what? I was just like, yes, yes,
That was such a
yes, yes.
badass moment. And
Oh,
you know what it
man.
is? I think Kills, it set up Myers to be just probably the most unstoppable force out of the franchise, arguably, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that might have been part of the disdain for Halloween Ends for people, is
Mhm.
thinking, how can he be like this? And then in this movie be, and I think that the answer to that for me is that he, he's older in age.
Right.
Uh, he has fueled up pretty much as possible, and then he takes
Mhm.
such a beating in
Right.
that movie by the end,
That's right.
and then he's not in his home, his safe space for
Right.
those 4 years. So
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of factors that put him in the position that he was in it. He
Mhm.
wasn't the Myers that he was in Kills,
Yeah.
and
I
I
mean,
pretty much accepted that from the get-go.
yeah. I mean, it's not like he went to the hospital to attend to his wounds. I mean,
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I'm
That's a great
saying?
point.
You know,
He didn't have
my-
somebody like on the side there to like, how the mafia, they got that one guy in the mafia that was a
Yeah,
doctor.
yeah,
Myers
yeah.
doesn't have that.
I
So
can see that right now. I'm giving a call. I'm gonna need you to come in and clean it up, man.
yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, he went into ends with all the injuries, and to me, and not to really go down a rabbit hole per se, but to me, the house got bulldozed. He got to his goal, which was to get to the house for whatever reason. We never know, and I don't want to know, but he got to the
yeah,
house and then he left. It got bulldozed. And so it was, to me, it was like a wounded animal going into the woods. You're
exactly.
dying, you're content. You're just like, whatever, and he's just kind of just existing, you know what I'm saying? And like
hmm
I was okay with that. Would I wanted to have seen a little bit more of him? Of course, because I love the character and I love James Jude Courtney, but at the same time, the story that they were telling, I was digging it when I saw it in the theater, and I enjoyed it. So it is what it is. It is what
Yeah,
it
and I
is.
think in ends, if you didn't have the Corey angle, which that is one thing that kind of bugs people the most.
Yeah,
Look, Corey was a character you either were bought in or not. And if you
right.
weren't, then the whole movie was going to suck for you.
That's right.
But I mean, if you take Corey out of the situation, and then you're just left with a movie with like you say, a wounded animal
Mhm.
throughout the whole movie, where is your movie?
Right.
Everybody they want to put a stop to him for good, kill him for good. I mean, they
Yeah.
did that, but I think Corey kind of breathed new life in a franchise that was at the end of its road.
Right.
Let's go out with, hey, what if the evil goes into another 21-year-old, which is
Mhm.
that's how old Myers was when he came back in the first movie.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
let's kind of look at that again, and
Yeah.
what could that look like? And then this different character, not Michael Myers, how is he going to react with the evil inside him?
Right.
I found
right.
Corey quite interesting, actually.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was digging
refreshing.
his story. Yeah. I mean, the opening alone it just grabbed me. I was like, whoa,
Hell
wow.
yeah,
It's like, holy shit. But again, I get it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but just like everything else, I'm sure, Michael will be back in some way, shape, or form. And we'll see
yeah.
what they do next time. We'll see what they do next time. Real quick too, my good friend, my brother Strange Monkey Reviews in the chat saying it's a crossover for the ages. You're all right, man. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Perp Minded saying X Trilogy has a chance to be great. I
Absolutely.
agree. Yeah, Pearl, X was great, but Mia Goth and Pearl, my God, I mean, the weight of that movie was squarely on her shoulders, and I think she absolutely nailed it. I mean, just
Yeah.
mesmerizing performance, to say the least.
Yeah, it was similar to kind of what they did with Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Just kind of the study of the makings of a psychotic killer.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah. Her story is interesting, though, because we know where she ends up if you watch X.
Right.
So I think there's a lot more story that you could tell between Pearl
Mhm.
and X. And I wonder if they'll ever do that. I
Yeah.
think if Maxine's a big hit, then I guarantee you they're going to be looking at that.
Yeah. And what an interesting trilogy, too, because you've got one actress that's playing two roles.
Yeah.
And they're different. And, one is kind of the antagonist and one is kind of the protagonist. So that's, again, this is fresh stuff. This is, I've heard people
The horror
say,
community better hold on to Mia Goth as tight as it can, because if she
Yes.
gets, she's such a strong actress that if she gets the right role, like I'm scared to death that they're going to offer her like a Marvel role or something like that. And then,
ooh,
just like Jenna Ortega, Jenna Ortega, we're lucky that she's still in Scream, because she's
Yes.
one step away from saying, I'm not doing horror again, because I think that's one good thing about horror these days. And I'm thinking out loud here, but I think it's more of a respected genre than it was back in the 80s, where in the 80s, it was one step above porn, especially
Yep.
the 70s. So
That's right.
and a lot of actors, they didn't want people to know that they were in horror movies, where it's different
Mhm.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, true. And you've got all these great actors and actresses, man. I mean, like, top level actors and actresses, and
Yeah.
they're in these films and they're lending their talents. And it seems like you've got directors like like a James Wan, a Mike Flanagan, all these different directors that really they take it seriously. Jordan Peele, and they're horror nerds like us, like Damien.
Yeah.
They are basically like us. They've studied and watched these movies from back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and grew up on it, and now they're able to put their own mark on the genre, and it's really cool to see, man. I think horror is in a really good space right now. I really, really do. And there's a lot of fresh stuff coming out, and while also paying respect to some of these legacy franchises, like we said, like this Halloween trilogy, like Scream. You got Chucky on streaming. You got that Hellraiser movie that came out on Hulu or whatever it was, Peacock, whatever it was.
Yeah. Hulu, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that actually, it was interesting. It was. I
Yeah. It
hadn't
was
wa-
definitely interesting. And I think Jimmy Clayton, who played
Yes,
Pinhead this time around, she
Mhm.
was fantastic.
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hadn't
Or
watched.
they were fantastic.
Yes,
Let me
yes.
fix
Thank
that.
you. You're right. Yes, they were. And I hadn't watched a Hellraiser movie in I don't even know how long, man, because I jumped off that train a long time
Rough.
ago. Yeah. Like after, and my buddy Strange Monkey in the chat, he knows what I'm talking about. But after like the fourth one, I was like,
Oof.
I'm done, man. When he went into space, I'm like, it's over, bro.
Mhm.
It's over. And they had so many that were direct to video, and I lost track of it. But this
It's a
newest
tough
one,
franchise for sure.
yeah. The first two were, God, man, like the costume, the atmosphere, the music, the practical work was amazing stuff. Doug Bradley is
Yeah.
obviously a legend. Those first two, the first one especially scared me as a kid.
It's
You
its
know?
own world, like there's really nothing like Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And but I think it's such a dark and niche idea that maybe it's hard to make say 4 great movies out of it.
Yeah.
That first movie is just phenomenal.
Agreed.
But like it's almost like, how do you explore these beings that come from hell? It's
Yes.
not like a normal slasher.
Right.
They're not coming out to hunt people in the woods.
Right.
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 It's more of like a presence, and you got Pinhead, Doug Bradley, with these really dark, sinister lines that you need a great actor to be able to sell that stuff.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that's what makes, I think, Hellraiser just so unique, and maybe that's why there's so many bad movies, because it takes a great writer, a Clive Barker, to really make a great Hellraiser movie. But
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, man, that remake, they were definitely hitting on something there. It was one of the better movies for sure.
I agree, man. It kept my attention, and I was like,
Hmm.
wow, that's really, really cool. Very, very cool. Wayne in the chat, our good friend Wayne from Australia, saying, question to Lee, you ever been to Australia? If yes, whereabouts and when? If not, thoughts.
Man, I tell you, I would love to go to Australia. I was in the military for 24 years, retired
Mm,
Air Force, and I've been to a lot of different places. I deployed to Oman, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait,
mm,
Afghanistan. I was in Japan. I was in Korea. You know, when you're in the military, you travel all around. But one place I always wanted to go was Australia. But now I don't even know if there's got to be some kind of military station in Australia, I would think, right? Because matter of
mm,
fact, when I was in Afghanistan, we served with quite a few Australian soldiers over there, and they were really cool dudes too.
mm,
But yeah, I always wanted to go to Australia, but I never got to. I would love to one day, definitely. I
mm.
just don't want to fight any kangaroos.
I hear you. I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Uh, Mr. Dan, my good friend Mr. Dan, saying Birdemic is so
There we
watchable
go.
though. I could watch it right now.
There you go. See?
Oh, you too funny, man. Uh, Ronan coming in saying you two should make a channel where it's you two talking horror. Ronan, you're all right, man.
Yeah.
Tell you, man, he's so amazing. That's so cool. Thanks, man. Hadja Boys, what's up? What's up? Saying I don't like ends. I think it should have been a standalone anthology, but I don't get mad at people for liking it. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
man. Exactly.
And that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Miss Carter saying unpopular opinion, but I love Kills. My favorite of the trilogy grows on me every time I watch it. Yeah, man, Kills. I'm telling you, man.
It's definitely the one that I want to throw in the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just certain visuals in Kills, like him coming out of the house
Oh,
with the
yeah.
fire. That scene is probably one of the coolest scenes in the franchise.
Yep.
I love the final act. Like the
Mhm.
final act is so energetic.
It
You know,
is.
because this was a moment where I wanted Allison to really make it count as a final girl. You know, and we had
Yeah.
even like complained about that before Kills came out. You know, because she didn't
Mhm.
really get to do that much in 2018.
That's right.
And man, boy, does she like when Myers is coming down and he freaking brutally kills Cameron, and
Mhm.
she's like toe to toe with him. She's like stabbing him, and she's like, "Do it!" and screaming at him. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite freaking final acts of the franchise. You know, so
Yeah.
I don't think Kills is perfect, and I think I understand why people have a major problem with the middle section of the movie. Although I actually liked what they were going for with the middle section, being
Mhm.
Myers against the town of Haddonfield, and how
Yeah.
confusion and chaos and all these things can turn a town upon its head, you know, and
Yeah.
they didn't really understand what they were up against. And
Right.
so there's
Yeah.
a lot of interesting themes to discuss in Kills. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's probably one of the movies that has the most to talk about, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean,
I agree,
it's true. Yeah, I mean, these people were generally good people, like Sheriff. Well, not he wasn't Sheriff Brackett anymore, but like Brackett was saying, he's made us into monsters.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and it was just showing how a good person can go down that path when they're so full of rage and hate and resentment and so forth. So I think it was saying a lot of great stuff. What was it executed perfectly to me? No, not at all. But
Yeah.
again, this is a slasher movie in a franchise that's been around for 45 years. And Michael Myers, to me, his lane, it isn't a very wide lane. He
No.
doesn't talk. He basically is, coming after a couple people, and that's it. So for them to even make a movie where they could even throw in something to give it some depth, I think it's pretty cool in and of itself. And I loved Kills. I really, really did. So all right. Let's see. Joseph was saying, Drum Dums, are you going to interview Amy Donald as Megan?
Um, well, the funny thing about like interviews is like I didn't really get into YouTube to do interviews with celebrities, and I would have been scared to death to even think about doing that. And then I met Deborah Voorhees, probably like 5-6 years ago now. And I'm trying to remember, like, how did that even happen? I probably through like horror groups or whatever, but I met Deborah Voorhees and she was just the sweetest, kindest person. And I ended up having her on my channel, and she kind of opened me up to the idea of, celebrities are just people, just like you and me. And since then, she's become like a really close, dear friend, which is I grew up watching, Friday Part 5 and being, having a big old crush on Deborah Voorhees. And then now that I can call her my friend, it's crazy, but still, I do have that fear, and I've thought about like reaching out to celebrities and saying, "Hey, can I have an interview with you?" But I'm my own worst enemy with it. Like I freak out, and I'm like, I don't want to screw it up or something like. And like I'm sort of friends with Barbara Crampton. Like we talk to each other back and forth, and she even told me, she was like, "Hey, here's my email. If you ever want to interview me, just let me know, and we'll do an interview." And I'm like, really? Are you serious? So it's more me than it is any other celebrity. I'm always like super, I don't know, petrified, or it's something I need to work on. It's definitely something I need to work on, because I would love to interview, the Megan actress. I think it's because I thought she was like a CGI character, and I'm sure there maybe there is a little bit of CGI used there, but that young actress did a really phenomenal job. Like I never expected that to be a real person. So
yeah,
it'd be cool to have a conversation with her.
Agreed. She was really, really good, man. I enjoyed the movie. It was all right. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. And there was a couple more questions on here too. Let's see. Wayne saying, anyone ask Lee thoughts on Stu coming back in the Scream movies? Ooh,
okay. There's another hot button talk. Man, people get pissed off. Pissed off. If you even dare insinuate that Stu could be alive. Like I've had some really angry comments like, dude, let it go. Just let it go, man. He's not coming back. They just get all freaked out. And I'm like, it's a fictional character. We're talking about horror, which, the people come back for the craziest reasons in a horror movie.
That's right.
The number one thing that could bring Stu back is money. If there's money to be made and there's ideas that they've run out of, then I think they could bring him back. And is it so implausible for a guy that had a TV drop on his head to come back to life? He could be in the hospital for 6 weeks and then he could bring him back. It's happened.
That's right.
People can get stabbed over and over like Dewey, and nobody bats an eye.
That's right.
But one TV falls on his head, and I know he was stabbed by Billy, but
yeah,
I guess my point is, it would not ruin my day if they said, "Hey guys, Stu's alive." I'd love it actually. I think the franchise needs a shakeup, so it'd be cool if they did that.
Yeah, I'd be up for it too, man. I'd be up for it too. Barb asking a question too with a super chat. Thank you so much, Barb. We really appreciate you and all of your support tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. Saying you just know someone will pick up Halloween franchise and hacky sack it around a bit.
I like that. Hacky sack it around.
She's so funny, man. What would you like to see done with it? Continuation of Thorn, a complete reboot, or what? It's a great question.
I want Michael to kick a hacky sack around now.
Could you imagine seeing that?
He's like, does he do it with the knee, or does he do the leg, the flip with the foot?
Right.
I don't know. It's gonna come back. Yeah, it's after the money they made in the David Gordon Green trilogy. Yeah, I think they're just letting the dust settle a little bit. But it's definitely coming back. And I'm excited to see where they take it, because honestly, I can't even guess where the franchise goes next,
Right.
And that gets me excited.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's going to come back, and I'm just curious to see what they do. There's a lot of different avenues. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum about those avenues, and I'm going to be watching it one way or the other, because I'm just a huge Halloween fan. So simple as that. But yeah, they will be back. All right. Now we got a couple more questions here, guys, because we're going to get ready to wrap up. We've had Lee on for quite a while tonight. I want to be respectful of his time, and hopefully, he'll come back and visit us again. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up. But let's see. I saw a couple more here. Ty was asking, how do you feel about the upcoming Exorcist? Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
I guess as much as we've praised the Halloween trilogy, but I'm not gonna knock on David Gordon Green as much as I'm gonna say it's just hard to come up with a good Exorcist movie, let alone sequel. Exorcist 3 is great.
Yes,
but
thank you.
Yeah, I love Exorcist 3, but God, good luck. I think it's easier to make a good Halloween movie than it is to make a good Exorcist movie. And I'm not the biggest fan of, I guess, supernatural type movies. But I can recognize that The Exorcist, the first one, is a masterpiece. It's enthralling, and that's because they focus more on the characters than they do. The scares are kind of secondary, but when the scares do happen, it's tied directly into the story, and they go farther than you can possibly imagine. And it's hard for a movie to do that with that subject matter. So I'm not expecting it to be great or even good, if I'm being honest. I'm hoping it is, though. I think I'll be there day one. I'm curious.
Oh, I'm curious too, man. Yeah, I'm super curious. That's that. Who knows, man? I mean, it might be okay, but I don't think it's going to reach the level of The Exorcist, and not 3 either. So if I was to bet, I could be proven wrong, but The Exorcist, like you said, is just a masterpiece of a movie, and there's a lot of reasons for it, even other than what William Friedkin did. It also was a film that came out at a time when that was all fresh. People hadn't seen that thing before, and now we've seen that done thousands and thousands of times since then, as far as the things that they pulled from that movie and the tropes and so forth. So tricky situation. Tricky. Well, thank you. Tricky situation for sure, but I'll be curious. I'll definitely be curious, man. Mayanne saying, I remember I watched Tenebrae and then I was looking for a good review of it, and that's how I found Drum Dums.
Thank you, Mayanne. That was really nice. I appreciate that. Tenebrae might be my favorite, like, slasher giallo, even though I know most giallos are slashers, but I think Tenebrae might be my favorite of the bunch. That one, and definitely Torso. I think Tenebrae and Torso are like both phenomenal.
Torso.
And I'm addicted to, I'm always looking for good giallo movies. And the crazy thing is I think there's a million of them. You can never stop finding them. And all these movies, we always praise the 80s heyday of slashers, and there were so many of them, but also giallos in the 70s. Man, there's just a million of them. And it's hard to keep up with all of them, but I think I'm finding more times than not, I'm liking what I'm seeing. There's very few of them that I've watched and I didn't really like. There's a couple that were kind of boring, but for the most part, man, I love Italian horror for sure. Thank you,
I think it's some great stuff there that a lot of people don't know about or may not have heard about. And we talk a little bit about some of that stuff here on Monday nights. We do our little slasher movie club stuff, and we've talked a lot of Argento and just trying to get the word out on some of these movies like Tenebrae, and people are getting interested in it. Stuff like Deep Red, and it's just some great films, man. And I'm glad to have been able to find them as well, because when I was growing up, I didn't get into those movies. It didn't happen until I was like in my late teens, early 20s. So, but great stuff. Yeah.
And we don't even realize how many directors today are inspired, or even back then are inspired by, like Argento. And
that's
Barb.
Right. Yeah.
I think Carpenter was even inspired by Deep Red. For like when he did Halloween.
Yes, absolutely. And it's cool for me, it's cool checking out those old school movies too, because it's from a different time, and I can kind of almost immerse myself in that time. And I really dig that too. So, cool, man. Well, look, Lee, and also Ronan, thank you so much. He gifted another membership or two. Oh my God, man, you're awesome, bro. Thank you so much. And Cody's in the chat too. He has an anniversary for 4 months. Thank you so much, Cody. And he was saying, who would win, 2018 Michael Myers versus Rob Zombie's Michael Myers? Oh, he said, who would win between 2018 Michael Myers and Rob Zombie's Michael Myers? Ooh, well, that's a tough one, man. 2018 Michael Myers was really, he might have been older, but he was no slouch. I'm just saying, but Tyler Mane is like 80 feet tall. So
yeah, I think if you go by the rules set by those specific timelines, I don't think Rob Zombie's was supernatural, like at all.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's debatable because it's never said that he's not. But whereas, you know, in 2018, that's definitely, especially in what you get in kills. So if you go by those rules, I think you get a little bit of an edge. And also in 2018, when he walks into that bathroom, I think before that, everybody was always questioning like, hey, this is an older Myers.
Yeah.
Is this going to be believable? As soon as that bathroom scene was over, nobody was questioning if it was believable.
That's
okay.
Right.
This guy, he's something else. He's not a freaking human being.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Good one. Good one. All right, guys. Well, look, we're going to get ready to let Lee get out of here. He's been amazingly gracious. And like I said, for me, this has just been a fantastic opportunity to talk with him, hear his thoughts, and allow you guys to ask some questions too. We'll see if some point down the road we can get him back in and you know, pick his brain some more because he's very, very knowledgeable. But for you guys, yeah, no, that'd be, bro, trust me, anytime. This has been beyond amazing, absolutely beyond amazing. So I do want to just thank you so much for being so gracious. And for you guys that don't know, I mean, Lee moved around his schedule and just been very gracious, guys. So I'm really thankful for that and appreciative of his time. So very, very cool stuff.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's been really cool watching your channel grow, and you know, your chat, your community is really awesome and gracious. And this was just really fun. This was a treat. So I appreciate it, Knight.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Anytime. And all these guys in the chat, they're thanking you and stuff too. And I know, I know they'll be leaving some great comments. And by the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Lee's channel or his second channel too, because you've got the second channel where you're able to kind of just, you know, like you said,
I call it my play channel.
Yeah. So definitely check out DRUMDUMS.
If you want to play, subscribe to my second channel.
That's awesome.
We keep it serious on the main channel.
Yeah. No, but I think it's a great idea, man. And Val, by the way, if you can put the link to Lee's other channel, DRUMDUMS Extra, that'd be fantastic. Because I think, first of all, when I saw that you were doing that, I was like, wow, this is so cool. He's got another channel, and you know, you explained your reasoning for it and so forth. And I just, you know, as a fan of yours, I was just like, man, this is absolutely so cool to be able to not only see a different side of you, but for you to be able to have fun in a different way, you know. So
kind of breathe new life, you know, because YouTube can get a little stale.
Right.
And I think you're always looking for a new angle to try to, you know, I guess keep the engine in the tank.
Yeah.
And also it kind of solved a problem for me too, because I was having different like I have a lot of different types of content on my channel. And I needed to kind of split it up a little bit because it was affecting the algorithm. So I thought, hey, why don't I just create a second channel, a play channel, and I'll throw my like live clips and maybe my DRUMDUMS watches and, you know, whatever, like anything, shorts. I can have fun. I'll just throw all that stuff over there, and I'll just keep the main channel for just straight up like reviews and my live stream, you know, like the live streams. So it's been rewarding. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes, man. I know it'll be as successful as you always are. So, I mean, yeah, it's just awesome, man. Seriously. All right, guys. Well, Lee, I'll just have you hold on for 1 second as I just play this outro. And for you guys in the live chat, thank you so much. We hope you have a good night. Come back and hang out with us, you know, when we're on and all that good stuff. So we will catch you guys later. And yeah, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Nightwatch. Peace out. And hey, have a good night. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.